Santa Fe water tank.
Which one connected east and west? Pacific? No?
Well, there is no single railroad that ran the whole width of the country. Southern Pacific, which was what was here, ran from here, from the Bay Area, ran to Ogden, Utah, and when they went across Donner Pass into Nevada and stuff, they went to Ogden, Utah, where they then would turn over anything they were hauling to Union Pacific Railroad, which then ran from Ogden to like Council Bluffs, Iowa, and then they would turn it over to Chicago Northwestern Railroad to get it to Chicago.
They changed the engine or the whole?
That depends. Nowadays, it's very common to just, if you start out with a Union Pacific locomotive and you're going, the train needs to go to New York. When you get to Chicago, they're probably going to put either what they call a Norfolk Southern locomotive or a CSX locomotive on it, but the cars are going to stay the same. They just change the power, and they do what they call just a run through, because rather than change out the locomotive, they just frequently the Union Pacific locomotives would just stay on that train and run all the way to New York.
Trying to change the engine.
And they have these arrangements where, okay, we used your locomotives for 832 hours this month. Okay, so now you owe us, so they had they kept track of where they were and how long they were used. So they had all these agreements between the railroads but in the older days, normally they would change the power to whatever locomotive. But there is no transcontinental railroad.
We took a bus a long time ago from Washington D.C. to Dallas. One driver started from Washington D.C. to another town. Then the driver changed.
Yeah.
And the guy who came from Washington D.C. picked up that other bus.
And nowadays with their union rules and things like that, most an engineer on a freight train, there's just two people in the case, the engineer and the conductor. And the conductor rides in the locomotive. There's no cabooses or anything anymore. Right. So there's usually just two guys on a freight
What
train.
is the caboose for?
And but they'll only do maybe 150, 200 miles total distance before they're done. And they have to crew change. And so, I mean, they may, and depending on how the things are run, I mean, they may in fact only be like 7 hours in the locomotive, but they're going to get paid for 8 or 9 or 10, or whatever their union arrangement is. But the old days are where an engineer, conductor might do a 300-mile trip. Those are long.
So he has a question.
What is the caboose for?
Well, it used to carry the rest of the crew. A freight train in the older days, in the days of steam, a freight train usually had like 5 guys. You had an engineer and a fireman who either the coal or the oil or just maintain the water and the pressure. So you had an engineer and a fireman, and you might have a front end switchman or brakeman, who was the guy that had to get down and throw switches. And in the old days when they had roof walks, would walk on the top of the cars and tie down brake wheels and things like that. And then back in the caboose, you had the conductor and the rear end brakeman. So there was usually like 4 or 5 guys on a freight train.
I think there's one particular guy who lubricates too.
Well, on all trains, whether it's passenger trains or freight trains, the engineer is not the boss. The conductor is the boss of the train. So the conductor tells you time to go or time to stop, or we're going to do this, we're going to do that. It's not the engineer. The engineer takes his orders from the conductor. So the conductor of the train is the boss. And then on passenger trains, he's riding somewhere in one of the passenger cars. Whereas in the freight train nowadays, the conductor's just sitting on the across from you in the same cab. But it's the conductor. But nowadays, if you have to, like, if you operate down the coastline here, and you have to go into a siding because Amtrak is coming or something, Amtrak has a higher priority. Like I say, a lot of the switches are still hand thrown on the coastline. So you have to stop. Conductor has to climb down out of the locomotive and walk out there and unlock the switch and throw the switch to put you into the siding.
Yeah.
And the old days that would have been a brakeman or something, but nowadays it's a conductor.
Is the conductor basically the captain of a ship?
Yep, he is the boss.
Yep.
What he
Captain,
says
that's a good
goes.
one.
So you know, the engineer says, "Well, we're running late. Let's go." And the conductor says, "No." And
I mean,
trains are if you're on a passenger train, you're on a schedule.
Right.
Like Amtrak when it comes through here tonight. Amtrak is supposed to arrive at a certain time, and then they have a specified layover time before they can depart. They can get here half an hour early, but they can't depart
Yeah.
before that departure time. So
Yeah.
anyway,
All right.
so like I say, this is sort of, you know, it's supposed to look like California or the West, and for the most part it does.
I mean, is it based on a real town or city?
Oh, this mission down here is San Miguel, which is sort of what San Miguel actually looks like. And this sort of reminds me of Soledad, where the tracks run right through the sort of middle of town. But
How about this? The Sierra Nevada?
now those would be like the east foothills, you know, down here, you know, there's maybe more. The Sierras, these are higher down here. These are, those are sort of the you know, between here and the Central Valley. There are some features that are specific over here, like there is a replica of the San Jose Depot.
Oh, and I have a question. Is the caboose where the crew sleep?
Well, you don't sleep.
You don't sleep?
No, you don't sleep if you're on duty on a train. I mean,
I mean, do you take breaks in the
well, you can
caboose?
take a break, but you can't sleep.
I mean, what exactly is
This
the?
is a replica of San Jose Depot. Yeah. I mean, you if you went to sleep, you could get fired.
Oh,
And there's Mount Hamilton up there.
Mount Hamilton. Oh, this is fascinating.
So there's some things that are similar,
Yeah,
Is this really San Jose?
yeah,
but that's what the San Jose Depot looks
looks
like.
like, yeah.
I mean, did it really used to look like this?
It
It's
still
still
does.
looking like this. And taxis are still parking here.
This is sort of high desert down here too.
Yeah, no, there's
Big
two.
Sierras. The layout is still, it's always in a state of transition. We start rebuilding before we ever finish that deal. And so some things, you know, we got a coal tower here, which was not very common on the west, but, you know, that was, some of these stands are, this one goes back into the 1800s. Sort of a common array of what you find out there. Here's a couple of photos of what this looked like around here. This is the San Jose Roundhouse, which is all gone. This is Bayshore Yard up in San Francisco by the Cow Palace, which was a major facility. But this is all gone. The cow train
You mind if I?
years ago rerouted, but back before that all happened, this was the San Jose Roundhouse and all the
Their maintenance facility is now by Taylor.
yeah behind all those stores and stuff on
Target,
Taylor's.
yeah.
Oh, and
You can see the cow train
how exactly does a
maintenance.
roundhouse work?
Well, you got a turntable here. See the turntable?
Yes.
Locomotive pulls in, goes on the turntable, and then depending, the San Jose Roundhouse had 15 had 15 stalls. So depending on where you were going to park it, the turntable would turn and match up to the track, and you just. And the Bay Shore Roundhouse was even larger, and the Bay Shore, what they called garden tracks, which San Jose, there's a few out here. And all the passenger trains for the commute service back in the city, most of them were all after they got serviced. You know, they'd dump the, you know, give them more fuel and whatever. After they got them serviced, then they'd usually pull them down here and just park them on what they called the ready lines. So, but
So the Roundhouse is a service house.
yeah, and at Bay Shore, this was the Roundhouse, and you can see all the garden tracks out here. Some shops. This was the locomotive shops. They had what they called a transfer table. Here's a what they call the transfer table. This rolled back and forth. You can see tracks they'd come out of the Roundhouse onto the turntable, and then depending on which stall the locomotive had to go into for, you know, there were doors all along here. This would move back and forth, and then the locomotive would be pushed in. This building back here is the car shops. So all the car repairs for passenger cars and freight and stuff would all be taken care of in that one. But Bay Shore was big enough and had enough that they could actually build locomotives at Bay Shore. They built locomotives. Southern Pacific built locomotives in Sacramento. They built locomotives at Bay Shore and there were other yards in San Francisco.
Okay.
There, let me show you the boardroom since we're here. Our boardroom is really a mess now. We get a lot of donations all year long. You know, grandpa dies and the kids don't know what, so we get the stuff. So we've become very well known as far as someplace to, and so we're doing a lot of so we do a lot of shipping, you know, eBay and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's because Doug is out. The power cord he's out there vacuuming the platform.
Oh.
So he's got the power.
So once at boardroom, people meet here.
Yeah, we do our own meetings here. We also, from time to time, rent the room out.
Okay.
We can lock this door, so they can come in here.
Okay.
They've got a bathroom, but they don't have access to the rest of the building. And if you're a small group and you want an off-site meeting of some sort, we have like the engineers union and stuff. Every third month they conduct their meeting here. We have several other groups. A Toastmasters club meets here like once a month.
Okay.
It's a real mess now, but we try to get it cleaned up when we have it.
Excuse me? You mind if I take a look at this?
What is it?
Oh,
Oh, you can look at it. Oh, you mean open it? No, it's all wrapped up.
no, I just want to see what it is. Just
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
take footage of it.
Yeah, but anything that's
Are these model trains?
yeah, model trains and stuff.
Hmm.
If it's wrapped up, they're not going to unwrap it because they want to sell it. You know.
Yeah. I was wondering where you can get model trains like that.
Well, there's a big train store here in Santa Clara called the Train Shop.
Wow.
Uh,
In Santa Clara.
yeah, it's called the Train Shop.
Wow. Where is
Simple name.
that?
It's on a street called Winchester and Prune Ridge.
Winchester and Prune Ridge.
Yep. And these are all what we call the fallen flags, timetables. Most of these railroads are gone, except Union Pacific has taken over. Union Pacific now owns Chicago Northwestern, Rio Grande, Southern Pacific, MKT, Missouri Pacific, all the Western Pacific, all became part of Union Pacific. So. And there's only Well, there's the big four in the country now, which is Union Pacific, which is the world's largest railroad. BNSF, which is the Burlington Northern Santa Fe consolidation. The CSX, which was a bunch of railroads on the east and southern, and then Norfolk Western, which was again, so the Norfolk Western and CSX are on the east side, Pacific, and BNSF control the west. There's other class ones, Kansas City Southern, and then the Canadians own a bunch of American railroads now. Canadian Pacific and Canadian National own a bunch of American railroads. And they just acquired Kansas City Southern. So Canadian Pacific is actually a sort of transcontinental railroad because they now run from Canada through the United States into Mexico. So they've got a north-south completion. But most of all these others are all gone. Seaboard, Boston, Holland, Coast, those are all LNN, those are all gone.
Gone or absorbed by someone else?
Well, absorbed, but no longer,
Right.
identified as that railroad.
It's just like airlines.
Yeah, airlines and stuff. Yeah, I mean, nowadays you don't know who you're flying with.
I mean, Continental was absorbed by United.
Yeah.
And,
My uncle was a pilot for Pan American, and Pan American.
Yep,
long
it's
ago.
gone. Yeah,
Long
Pan
ago.
American gone. TWA gone.
TWA's gone.
Brand gone.
Eastern
gone.
Western.
Western gone.
The first flight I ever did was on Western Airlines from boot camp in San Diego back home.
Oh, yeah.
And I was on a Lockheed prop. It wasn't even a jet. I was 62.
Oh, boy.
Airlines have all absorbed one another, so same with the railroads.
Yep.
And,
Well, defense contractors, the same thing happened.
Well, they were just on.
It used to be Grumman, Northrop, Boeing. Now,
Lockheed.
now, yeah, well,
Now,
Lockheed.
just on 60 Minutes there a week or so ago, one of the things they were emphasizing was.
Pentagon told them to merge.
Well,
And now, the spare parts,
yeah.
they can't buy it. It costs
Well,
$10,000.
They're charging you 100% over the actual
Yeah,
cost.
yeah.
What's
No
that?
more than that.
What's that device right there?
Huh?
What's this device right here?
Oh, the device?
Oh, that is called a velocipede. It was a
Velocipede.
Oh, they go do this.
Yeah, you had to pump.
You pump and then it goes on the track.
Going uphill was work, and then you got to the top, and then you coasted. You took a nice coast all the way downhill.
Yeah,
But-
service people service the tracks.
Yeah, this in the old days, and this is like turn of the century, 1900, 1910. A track maintenance worker would have a section of track that was his responsibility. Maybe it was a 5-mile stretch or a 10-mile stretch, and so every day he had a toolbox on the back. He somehow might have a pick or a shovel or something strapped onto it, and every day he'd go out, and he had to check that.
Now I see.
Check
Regular
that switch.
pickups. On the
Well, yeah,
regular track.
nowadays you're in a pickup with high wriggle wheels. But after these, then they had just what we call speeders, which are a motorized car.
Yeah.
And then those have been replaced by pickup trucks.
Yeah.
But those, like I said, the guy that donated this was his. When he retired, they gave him his philosophy that he had used.
Yeah.
So then he donated it to us. So,
So you would use this?
Yeah.
yeah.
You just like you use
And
the
then-
pedals on your bike.
And then this is a brake handle.
This?
He reached down there and
Stop it.
his foot rested on the footrest up there in front. And he had like I said, he would have a toolbox on the back, and he'd have, maybe some of these tools strapped onto it one way or another. But they were light enough. They were light enough that if you had to get off the tracks because when you went out there, you knew what time the trains were supposed to be. you know, said, okay, it's 2 o'clock, I go to the freight train. So he'd have to get off the tracks. So, you know, he might stop at like a road crossing, you know, and then, but he had to lift it off the tracks and be able to, you know, get it out of the way.
This thing isn't that heavy. It looks like it's.
Well,
it looks heavy.
it's all wood pretty much and a few steel parts. But it wasn't like he lifted it up, it was just, grind, pull and push it to get it.
See, it's a three-wheeler, Tommy.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
The other end, you know, folds. Like I said, so the only thing he has to worry about is this too. Yeah, that's neat. Well, thank you very much, sir.
Well,
Appreciate it.
we're here every Saturday,
Okay.
and we're here Tuesday evenings. And anytime you're around, and like I say, the regular hours on Saturday are 10 to 4, but if the door's open, I'm here usually.
Yeah, we saw it, and then actually it said, what, 3 o'clock?
Is that what they still say?
Yeah.
It was 3 o'clock after the pandemic, and then they pushed it back. At one time, we were open till 5 o'clock, and then the pandemic, they.
Thank you for taking the time. What do you want to tell me? Yeah.
Is the tour over?
Pretty much. Did you got time? You want to see the waiting room down there?
Okay, let's see.
Where's your?
Okay, I don't know, my brother is gone. We got the car key. No worry.
Oh,
He has to find us.
Yeah, I would like to hear more.
this is
So it's a library here?
yeah. This originally was the baggage room,
Oh.
so that we can turn it into our library.
Ah.
So we've got a pretty extensive library. We've actually on Saturdays we have 2 guys that are in here full time, cataloging and.
So how do they get paid? Was a donation or?
Well, pretty much. I mean, a lot of the books have come in through donations. Like I say, when Grandpa died,
Yeah.
the kids have the whole collection, and maybe it's model trains as well as 100 books and stuff. So we bring them in, and we have to go through them. And a lot of them we already have, but then if they're really good books, you know, we put them on eBay and whatever source we can. And it's mostly Western Railroading, but there is other, you know, Eastern stuff.
Says Grand Central over there.
Yeah.
Grand Central Station, I'm assuming.
Well, New York?
Yeah.
So like I say, we actually are an annex to the city of Santa Clara library system.
Okay.
If somebody comes into their library and says, I want to do some research on something railroad, they say, well, go over to the
Yeah.
Santa Clara train station on, you know, Tuesday nights or Saturday during the day. Because we let people come in and do research here. They can't take the books out of here. Members can check the books out, but if your public can, you know, look through them. And, you know, but like I said, this originally was.
All the books I have to do with railroads, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
The Men Who Love Trains.
Yeah.
Dawn of the Diesel Age.
It was Abraham Lincoln who started Transcontinental Rail.
Yeah, this station was opened on January 1st of 1864.
Okay.
So this predates the Transcontinental Railroad. The Transcontinental Railroad was completed in 1869. So this is the oldest railroad station in California, and some historians believe it's the oldest west of the Mississippi. So historically, it's a significant
Yeah.
building.
So what's
The waiting room is down here.
Oh,
When was year done?
1935, because they had a car railroad station in San Jose.
So this is what,
Rerouted the whole line in 1935, so
What is the price?
And now there was still an agent in this station until 94. And after that, they, and this station was never needed a big waiting room because this was not really a destination station. People back in the 30s, 40s, 50s, people lived in San Jose and worked in San Francisco.
Oh, really?
Essentially. So, or Santa Clara. So they got on the train here in the morning,
Yeah.
but they'd arrive at the depot like 5 minutes before their scheduled train. So they didn't have to wait in the waiting room. But they get on, and then when they came home in the afternoon or evening, as soon as they got off the train, they went to their car and drove home. So there was never a need for a big waiting room.
I wonder what it is. It's $6.
To Los Angeles.
Yeah. I'm trying to see what we know.
To Los Angeles. From where?
From here.
Wow, is there a,
Actually, from
wow.
San Francisco.
Is there a train to LA from Santa Clara?
Not from Santa Clara, but from San Jose.
From San Jose.
The Coach Starlight, which runs south in the morning, stops here, and then
Yeah,
it goes
that was
to LA.
maybe minimum when
And then in the evening, the northbound Starlight, which goes through here about 8:30, goes to Seattle.
Wow.
All righty, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Is this a current or former railroad?
No, that's way back, probably 1910, 1920.
Yeah, it's better be.
How do you bring in people here like my brother? I've never visited a really good visitation today. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome. Like I say, if you come by and the door's open,
Okay.
I'm open.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for the tour.
Cars that they called the all-day lunch, which was that sign we have above here. So they went on passenger trains like between
Notice the boat doors on these empties. That
Sacramento
practice
stuff, they
has
were
long
just,
since ended for eliminating loose doors, rolling
car
open
that served
shut, causing
lunch.
damage and poor safety. And to cut down illegal riders, you can spot one in this
So what is that
box
caboose for again?
You can also
What is
cut
that
down
caboose
people
for
using
again?
empties as rollaway
Well, the
trash.
caboose had the conductor
Notice the variety of
and the
door
rear end
types,
brakeman
number of doors, and
rode in the
other
caboose.
details that are more
And
obvious.
they
Cars go by.
looked after the
So
trains
let's
from
use
back
the
in.
freight cars of 4 different
And
western
when you-
roads
when you
to
had a
try to
crew of
summarize a few details
4 or
of
5 guys,
by
you couldn't put them all.
observation.
You could not put them all on the locomotive. So you had some riding up front and then locomotive, and the others riding.
Why not just inside the cars?
Well, but in a freight train, you didn't ride in boxcars.
But a non-specific
So you had
room
The caboose, he monitored the train from the back end.
This was an attempt to cut down.
If they had to stop the train,
Returning with numerous
they had to-
cars.
one of them had to get out
Same railroad at the same
and
time.
walk back
That
and
idea of pool cars is useful when the road is
put out
also
a red
scrambled.
flag or
French cars and
what they call
Russian
that torpedo over there. You had to be able to stop any train from coming from behind. And that was the office for the train, the conductor, all the paperwork and everything.
This Southern
was taken
California
care of in the,
train
caboose.
is dominated by cargo from the Pacific Northwest. Cars with lumber came from there. From
What do these do?
At the end of the 1970s, single-family housing construction was booming
What's with
in the
these blue
West.
and red lights? What's with these blue and red lights?
Well, red meant stop.
Huh?
Meant stop, or that was the back end of the train.
Back end of the train.
If you were in a train approaching another train from behind, then he was showing red, that meant, okay, that's the end of the train, don't run into it.
Did trains share a track?
Well, they could, yeah, I mean, you can have one train running north, you might have another train behind him, like 3 miles behind him.
Like, is there a possibility that the trains could like collide directly into each other? Like, what I mean by
It happens, still happens. Somebody misses that the signal is red and they run right through it and run into another train, or
what I mean is by is if what I mean by sharing a track is it possible that a train goes in the opposite direction in that single track?
that's the whole line from San Francisco to LA, which is called the coastline, which runs by.
That seems
For
dangerous.
the most part, it's single track. But nowadays with radio, you know, you're given instructions over by the radio. It's going to say, you know, such and such a train goes south. You're going to have to go into a siding at Soledad or something to meet the northbound train.
Huh.
And signals are set up to do that too.
Was the
So
first
there's a
and for a time
signal would
only significant
tell
rail
the train that you're going to go into the siding.
It was the
Because it
first
says
of rails laid
it has maybe a red over a yellow.
So is it like a traffic light?
Yeah,
Dogger
yeah.
Pass line is 140 miles long with 2 tracks. The tracks.
That seems dangerous.
Places to give
It seems dangerous that trains could go in opposite directions on the same track.
The scenes were shot to record the
It's
time.
dangerous if the crew isn't paying attention to what they're doing.
Now, what if one of how many of these lights do they have on each train?
How many of them what?
How many of these lights do they or lamps do they have on each train?
Not a lot.
Hmm.
A lot of them.
Yeah,
But
because I can imagine if
if the engineer or the brakeman got down off of the train and had to walk out behind the train or something, he always had a lantern with him. And before the days of radio, you would give signals to the conductor could tell the engineer, okay, time to start, by giving him a signal with a lantern. The lantern, if he swung the lantern like that, it meant he stopped, and other motions of the lanterns told you he could back up.
are they bright?
Well, they're not as bright as LEDs,
Hmm.
but they were bright for their time.
So, did you say that the conductor has to carry it?
Well, if he got down off the train before the use of radio,
This train with mostly refrigerator cars from the Pacific Food Express calls the trains called the Solid Bowl
Are there
Express.
lanterns hanging on the roof of the train as well?
well,
Pacific Food Express, or PFE, was formed in
a lot of these
1960
lanterns were hung on the back end of the train.
and the Union
Huh.
Pacific. By 1978, the partnership was dissolved.
Like
Each
over-
local
it goes
unit
over
put
here.
marks of their cars, either SPFE or
See, this is the
PFE.
back end of a train. And you would have these lanterns hanging on the back of the car.
The caboose on this train is a
And if,
UD
you know, red meant this is the end of the train.
on SP trains, decades
So is it like taillights or
Yeah.
headlights?
Tail lights.
I guess rather taillights, since headlights are meant to illuminate.
I mean, you'll notice at night when a cow train goes by, that if it's the locomotive and he's running north, so the locomotive's on the back end of the train, he's got red lights on, not a bright headlight.
I guess if I see Polar Express again, then I'll notice that.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember seeing that.
Well, they may not have actually shown that because they really didn't have a need to show it.
Hmm.
But trains all have a red light on the back end of them. Like you said, it's just like tail lights on a car. You're looking at the back end of a car, not the front. But
So,
all those lanterns up there on the wall and stuff. Railroad employees had to carry a lantern, and that's how they gave a message to the rest of the other crew members. And if you saw a blue light like up there hanging on a train, that meant that there were maintenance people working on the train. Do not move this train because there might be somebody underneath the car working on it. So blue meant somebody working on the train.
What's this over here?
It's a switch machine that controls switches and stuff.
Is this from a locomotive?
No, that would be in a station or a tower.
Huh. So, did this used to be here? Oh, is that a radio tower?
These scenes are on the western slope of the SP's
Or it would be a control tower for the just like the tower we have at the other end of the parking lot. You seen that tower down there?
Oh, I didn't see it.
Okay, well anyway, there's a tower down at the other end of the parking lot, and that controls what you switches, and something like this would have been inside.